Hey guys, it's Samantha from Black Nation News. Just a quick disclaimer. I am a mother and I stay home with my 3 little sons. I have 5 in all. But the older 2 are like 14 and 12 going on. They'll be 15 and 13 this year. But anyways, so I just wanted to say sometimes you're going to hear my little kiddos in the background, but that's just part of being a work at home mom. I run my own businesses and I choose to stay home with my children until we're either going to be homeschooling them or putting them in an African Center school. Okay, so let's get started. So I wanted to talk about 2 videos. One I saw was with Dinas Amir. His channel is Search for Ahuru. And the other one is with let me see here. The other one was with a George Bong Noe. And I know I'm chopping it up, so please, correct me if I'm just completely messing it up. But I am just so excited about the whole ADOS movement. I have to say first and foremost, the ADOS movement has given me like an identity. I feel like growing up in America, I've always felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I felt like Africa did not want us, did not want African Americans. I felt like white people didn't want us. And then when you have black immigrants come over, you're trying to bond with them, and they didn't really want us. Everyone kind of stuck with their own culture and their group, if they were Nigerian or Jamaican or whatever. And I do have friends who are Jamaican, but it's very clear that they have their own culture, and you always kind of felt like, if they were all together, you just felt like an outsider, So I'm grateful to the ADOS movement because it does make me feel like we are a nation within a nation. It finally gives us like kind of like a tribal name, It reminds me of the Native Americans and the names they have for themselves, like the Choctaw tribe or the Cherokee tribe or whatever. And then you have the tribes in Africa, Yoruba and Igbo, and I think you have the Maasai tribe. So I feel like this is our tribe. Like we have a tribe now because we really are our own separate group. And the thing is like, so that's what I'm going to lead into. So this is just such an interesting topic, and it's really hard to like get through and dissect. But before the ADOS movement, I considered myself a Pan-Africanist. I worked diligently with this group called the National Black United Front, and our colors were red, black, and green. Everything was red, black, and green, RBG, the colors of Africa, the flag that Marcus Garvey created for us because white people laughed and said black people don't have a flag, or Africa doesn't have a flag, or something along those lines. So he created a flag for us. And to this day, black people, African Americans, ADOS, we fly that flag proudly. Because the reality is we don't have our own flag, and we are our own nation within America. Because of just when you look at the laws of America, like we don't benefit from those laws. There's like a separate set of laws that apply to us that doesn't apply to white people and other races of people that aren't black. And that's just how it's always been, like whether it was Jim Crow or slavery or Reconstruction era or mass incarceration, like the current period we're in now where it's mass incarceration. Like it's like black people, ADOS peoples, and probably other people, but I know for a fact for ADOS, we've always had our certain type laws that we had to abide by that we saw other races not have to follow. So now I definitely feel like we finally officially have a tribe. Because even with the civil rights movement, all the different movements we've had, we never had a name for ourselves, and I could feel that we were always looking for our own identity as we became Pan-Africanists and, Garveyites, and we would Hebrew Israelites, and we were constantly creating names for ourselves. But it's like the only thing that really makes sense is and one thing we know we are is American descendants of slaves. We're American and we're the descendants of slaves that were in this country. And so that's, it was ADOS. That's who we are. So I love all black people. Anybody who knows me knows I do. And I've been fighting for all black people for a long time, just like many ADOS people have been doing. Since we created the ADOS movement, I do feel like it's kind of like a strange moment. Like, I don't understand where Africans are getting that we're being divisive. I mean, I guess, like, to understand it, I can look at them and say, okay, so when you were saying I'm Nigerian American, I'm not black, or I'm not African American, I guess you guys are feeling how we felt this whole time. Like, that's the only way I can really understand it, is that you guys are getting a little bit of your own medicine and you don't like it very much. So the thing is, at the end of the day, we're all still African. That's just the reality of it. Like, I know you listen to Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, and they probably aren't Pan-Africanists, and that's fine. They probably are just wanting to stay in America, and that's okay. That's always been the case. There's always been ADOS people who are okay with staying in America, and then there's people like me and my fiance and Dinus Demir and Tariq Nasheed. There's a lot of us who want to go to the continent of Africa, want to live in Africa one day, want to help rebuild Africa. So, like Antonio Moore always says, ADOS is not a monolith. We're not a one-dimensional group. Just because you hear one person say something doesn't mean we all think the exact same thing. ADOS is just who we are. Like, if you're Jamaican, you're Jamaican. If you're African, if you're Nigerian, Nigerian. If you're Kenyan, you're Kenyan. But at the end of the day, we still are all of African descent. So ADOS was created primarily to fight against the white supremacist system in America and to fight for the reparations owed to us by the U.S. government. Honestly, it has nothing to do with anyone else. Like, even if, like, let me say this first, because I'm gonna put it in different bullet points, because it's very hard to, like, break all this down. Number one, ADOS was created to fight for reparations. We do not want anyone else getting what is owed to us, because our ancestors died, and we need to honor our ancestors and fight for a debt that is due. And as George Bongnawi says, it is about justice. Justice first for ADOS, for our ancestors. That's why we make sure to say we are American descendants of slaves. Number two, as George was saying, I do subscribe to him. I do listen to him. I love his videos. He's very, very intelligent, and he's definitely an ally. He's definitely one of our strongest allies. I love him to death. He's very smart, and I love the books he has provided. I'm definitely going to be buying those books. He's read books by African Americans that I don't even have, like ADOS people that I never even read. But I love that he's self-educating, because that is key. You have to educate yourself. Do not trust what anyone is saying about ADOS except ADOS. Don't be believing white people and Asians and the media and stuff. No, we know that they're our enemy. Come on. They're not going to say the truth about us. It's always going to be a negative. Part of it is always going to serve the white agenda or the non-black agenda whenever they speak about us. So the reality is, on this second point, is that anything that benefits ADOS will benefit the rest of the African community. Well, there's Africans and African diaspora. Now, I'm not saying that our checks that we're fighting for is for everyone else, like Africans and African diaspora, all the other groups. It's not for them. It's not for Africans. It's not for Jamaicans. It's not for the Caribbeans. They have CARICOM. They just fought for their reparations. We're happy for them. ADOS is thrilled. We want them to win. We want to see them win. It's kind of like how you have Germany, you have France, you have America. Like, when something needs to get done, they come together and they're allies and they fight for a common goal. That's what people need to learn. Is like African Americans, ADOS, we're not here to be a doormat for everyone to step on. We have fought hard. We are fierce, and we are not to be played with. And that's why we're making it clear. This is who we are. And we're fighting for that. We're going to get that check. Trust and believe that. So we're fighting for our check. You know, that's what we do. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to get. But what I'm saying is that it's not going to benefit Africans to say, oh, we mad at you. We want some of your check. Like, why do you want some of it? What did you do? What have you done? Stop it. And that's going to lead me to the next thing I'm going to talk about a little later. But no, you're not entitled to it. Just like we're not entitled to anything you get in your country. You got to grow up. Like to read this shit. I mean, seriously, you do have to hold your own nuts. Like, you're your own group. You've always been your own group. And there's this one guy who was talking, where was it? On Twitter, I think. And he was like, so, y'all come here. You can't come here anymore and take our diamonds and take our resources and blah, blah, blah. So we're coming to America because that's our way of getting some kind of reparations from America because they just take all this stuff from our country. That has nothing to do with the ADOS. Like, get fucking serious. Like, we're not coming to Africa and taking anything. We don't have anything to be taking anything. What are we taking? Give me a break. Like, you know damn well the people over there taking all this stuff from Africa is not us. It's Chinese people, it's British people, it's French, it's everybody and their goddamn mama. That's who you need to be focusing on. And I had to talk about this now. The thing I notice about a lot of Africans, and it's not your fault, just like white supremacy happened to us, we have our stuff that we got to deal with, but y'all have to stop expecting charity. You have to stop having your hand out. You need to stop being weak. You got to get stronger. We're in a war globally and nationally. And, we're at war like we always have been with non-black people. The groups that should be fighting each other and that have always been fighting each other are white people are against Asian people. Asian people are against black people. Black people are against Native Americans. Native Americans don't, it's like every race is in competition. It's by race. Because that's how white supremacy set it up. It's based on race. So if you run a race and you're on a track team, your team African, and next to you is team European or team white, and next to them is team Asian, and then next to them is Native American or Indian or whatever. Like, because honestly, Hispanic is not a race. To me, honestly, Hispanics are the same people as Native Americans. Like, they're all kind of like the same. Then you got the Indians who are from India, the Arabs. So imagine we're all in this track meet and we got to run and we're running a relay race, like 4x4 relay where you got to pass the baton to the next person. The next person you pass to is going to look like you. And what y'all trying to do is get to every freaking race on that track is trying to get to the finish line first. That's where we are. So I don't care what name we're calling ourselves. At the end of the day, you're still part of the Africa race. Like, I'm part of the African race. ADOS is part of the African race. We are Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. And me calling myself ADOS does not mean I'm not proud to be African American. It means I need to set myself apart from peoples who are calling themselves African American when it benefits them. Joy Reid. I think Candace Owens is not from, her parents are from the Caribbean. I don't know. That's what someone said earlier. I watched a video. That's what they said. We have, what's that girl's name? There's so many people. Like, it's not that we are mad at all Africans. I know others have said that. Tariq Nasheed. We have Dynas Demir loves Nigerians. He's a Nigerian citizen now. He got his passport. I have my passport. My whole family has their passport so we can go to Africa. That's all we ever talk about is we want to go to Africa. We want to live in Africa. We want to build Africa. We want to bring business to Africa and hire Africans to just share the beauty of Africa with the world and bring jobs to Africa. So when we get reparations, like that's what a lot of African Americans or ADOS plan to do. I'm not going to get my check and be like, oh, let me stay in this racist ass country. Fuck America. To be honest, like, I'm going to keep it 100. America has never gave a shit about us. Trump is racist as fuck. Like, they've all been racist as fuck towards us our entire time in America. You really think we care about... I can't speak for every African American ADOS person, Native Foundation. Like, that's, at the end of the day, that's who we are. Okay? So, like, you have people who are from other countries, like Sudan, Somalia, I don't know, like different countries. And they may sometimes have to flee their country because it's in unrest, it's in a state of unrest, there's war broken out. Or even Asian countries, there's communism, or there's certain things going on. Or you have Russia, where people are fleeing that country because it's crazy and it's got lots of crazy stuff going on. That's where we are right now. So it's like people are going to still say, I'm Russian, or I'm Vietnamese, or I'm this, I'm that, because that's who you are. You can't get away from that. Like, I'm American. I can't get out of that. But does that mean I'm probably going to stay in America? I really don't have plans to be honest. I don't have any plans to live in America for the rest of my life. I don't want my children in America. I don't want them to grow up in America, to be honest. If I learned what I learned in my late 20s, early 30s, 10 years prior, like if I would have learned it like when I was like 20 or 19, I would have set my life up to not ever have my children grow up in America. America is not good to ADOS. Now, is it a beautiful country that's well developed and successful? Yeah, it is. And you know what? That gives credit to my ancestors, the ancestors of ADOS, because we did a damn good job building a very wealthy world power country. And I'm proud of that. We are all proud of it. ADOS gave us an identity, and it gave us something to be proud of, to hold our heads up high and say, yes, we are descendants of slaves, and here we are, and we're doing great, and we're going to keep moving upward and just be amazing. And I promise you, like, when we get our reparations check, and when we get, things that are going to make us go further, the first thing I know that a lot of ADOS peoples are going to do is take our ass to Africa. That's all we talk about. We love Africa. We love African people. We love being black. And people say, some people call themselves black Americans. They don't want to be people, stop. No. ADOS people call themselves Black American because it means everybody on the globe is black. That unites us as black unity. Because you have people in Jamaica, you have people in Haiti, you have people in the Bahamas, you have people all over the globe, and you have people all over the continent of Africa. Then you got us, and here you got Cubans, black Cubans, you got black Mexicans. We're saying wherever you at, you black. Black first. Damn it. You got the white first, you got the yellow people, red people, whatever. We're proud to be black. And again, that is not excluding anyone. Like, everyone's crying and whining. That's all I keep hearing. Like, stop the whining. We got to get tougher as a whole. Like, get tough. Shit. I feel like you guys are, I feel like a lot of the people that are complaining, whether they're from Canada or whatever, Africans, peoples that have migrated to different countries that are calling up Tariq's show, or I see them on Twitter, I feel like they are afraid to stand on their own. And the thing is, we're not leaving you behind. I'm going to speak for a lot of us. Like, I know how I think, and I promise you, we aren't leaving you behind anywhere. We're not letting you go. Okay, we're still united. We are stronger together, period. There's no other way to say it. Like, how the hell do we think there's only 40 million of us, probably at the most, of ADOS? We're not trying to take over the whole, we know we ain't strong by ourselves. We're the quote unquote minority in America. Why do you think we haven't fucking overthrown this damn country a long time ago? Because we're not the majority. Trust me, we want to. But, I want to see our people be stronger. No matter what country you come from, what religion you practice, I just want us to be stronger. Because we have a long road ahead of us. I watched a video today, and this brother was talking to Dynasty Amir. Let me find the name of it so you guys can see the video I'm talking about. I'm going to try to keep my videos at like 30 minutes, so I just cut it in like 10 minutes. The name of the video is on Search for Uhuru, and it's called A Way Forward for Africans and African Americans to Reclaim Africa. And that's on the Search for Uhuru channel. So you spell it Search for UHURU. And this brother in that video, oh my goodness, it's like whine much. I hear a lot of excuses when we ask Africans certain questions about why they aren't going back to Africa to rebuild. I hear a lot of, this guy was literally still calling British people the slave master. And I was like, isn't slavery over? Like, why are we still giving them that title? Like, I could see former slave owner, former slave master, or what. But he was talking about it like it was real time, like it's happening right now. And that was problematic to me. Because that means, like, mentally, you're still like a slave. And we do have to be strong. Like, okay, so the thing is, like, I feel like each separate group of black peoples all over the globe, we have to be stronger separately in our own nation, within the larger nations. We have to empower ourselves by ourselves first as well. Like, you need to educate yourself of who you are, read books, educate yourself of what's going on in the world. Don't listen to the stupid media. Don't listen to the rap music. Like, read a book and learn, like, each other's histories. And then we need to be strong together. It's kind of like if you're part of a family. Like, I tell my children, don't become a liability. Like, don't be a liability. And it may sound harsh, but I don't care. Everybody thinks that way. And people who don't, their families are failing. Like, my family, we're strong separately. I can't go to school for my kids. You got to go to school and get smart and do what you're supposed to do, your homework and your classwork on your own. I got to go to work or build a business or do what I got to do. Daddy has to do the same thing. All the sons had to be smart in their own right and strong in their own right. Take self-defense classes. Get trained in using weapons. Learn how to grow. Learn how to cook. Every individual in our family has to learn those things. Now, but does that mean that if we need to come together, does that mean we're never going to unite ever? No, hell no. If my children need to stay with me until they finish college, or they could stay with me forever, to be honest, like, I really don't care. But they're going to have a job. They're going to be contributing to this family, and they're going to be strong in their own right. And that's what I want to see for every different nation of African peoples. I want us strong in our own right. But but we're going to be always tied to each other. Trust and believe it. Like, we're never letting you go, Africa. We're never letting you go, Jamaica. We're never letting you go. But no black African diaspora people's like, you ain't getting away from us, okay? We stuck together like glue. As long as you rocking this brown skin and black skin with us, we are family. I don't give a shit what you say. We family. That's what it is. Like, you can't, people can get mad all they want to, but I look at Dynasty Amir. He said his family's lineage is Nigerian, and honestly, I can see it. That's what I see is when I look at him, he look like a Nigerian. My family's from Kenya, and I did my DNA test, and everybody looks at me. Oh yeah, I can see it, yeah. And even before I tell them, they think I'm Ethiopian. They know I'm from East Africa. So That's what I tell my kids. It's like no matter what, you can't get away from us. We here. We blood. Okay? So that's not even something to even entertain. What we do have to make it clear, we're not trying to separate from you all. We just need to make it distinctly clear who needs to receive the reparations so we can be stronger as a nation. We don't want to be confusing and the U.S. government trying to figure out who do we give the check to, and they play, because our government plays so many damn games. They know exactly what they need to be doing, our government, and they still play games. Like Bernie Sanders would be like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? When we bring up reparations, he has to say he doesn't know what we're talking about, but his dumb ass is getting Jewish reparations. So we just want to make it clear to the government, like, who's receiving reparations, and let's just flesh this out and get to the bottom of things. And they need to get on it and give us our checks that is owed to us. But when we see somebody hurting, like there was a cyclone that hit Africa, and I think it was in Mozambique and like some other countries, I'm sharing that news with everyone because I want us to know, what can we do? How can we help? But if you think about it, Africa, all my African brothers and sisters, like, and that means globally. I mean, all African diaspora, everybody. When I say African, I mean everybody, every black person. How can we help you if we can't even help ourselves? You have to think about that. How can we come to Africa and rebuild Africa when we don't have no money? And I think that's the issue. A lot of Africans think we have all this money that we don't have. Because America is consistently kicking us out of the equation. That's what this fight is about. We have to have another movement because civil rights didn't do shit. America is constantly finding ways to box us out of it, like kick us out, kick black people out of the conversation, out of the money, out of the opportunities. And we see a lot of black immigrants coming here, and America is purposely loving to put you guys in front of us because they know y'all have no allegiance to us. You're gonna, time you see a dollar, you have no problem like turning your backs on us. And that's not to say all Africans are like that, but a lot of y'all are doing just that. Joy Reid is I mean, I say her name because she's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. There's so many, and you know, you have no problem telling, like, look at what Obama did nothing for us. He did nothing for the black Americans. His father's king and his mother's white, and that taught us something. Like, okay, there's something to this. Like, the fact that he doesn't share the same lineage, exact experience that we had, he doesn't feel like he owes us anything. Like, he doesn't feel this, like, ally feeling towards us. He doesn't feel an allegiance, a loyalty to us. So while we're loving him and voting him in office not once but twice, he doesn't give a fuck about us. So we got to get real here. It's like, and the Africans who support us, we're going to look out for you. And we're going to go back, and we are going to go back and rebuild Africa. You know why? Because that's our motherland. No matter what, I feel like we're like a bunch of siblings right now, and Africa is our mom. So it's like, I don't care how people act or what they say about ADOS or how they think, oh, you guys hate us. It's childish. Like the whole like African booty scratcher crap. Like I haven't heard that term used in so long. It's like since I was a kid, and I'm like 36 now, almost 37. And so that was almost 3 decades. I have never heard that word. I definitely have not used it myself, especially once I educated myself on the fact that I'm African. So why, like I just said, my family's from Kenya. I did my DNA. And we're from all over Africa, to be honest. But you know, I definitely like my DNA is like strongly linked to the people of Kenya. So we basically come from like Kenya. But of course, you mix with other groups and you know, procreate over all these years. But calling someone African booty scratcher, we probably were saying that to each other, like Diana Samir was saying. We probably said it to each other to be like mean to each other. But again, that was in ignorance. Just like you guys say stuff about us because you don't really know who we are or what we're thinking because you've just been taught a bunch of lies on your continent. And that's why I say you got to pick up a book and read a book, and just like we do. And that's what we have been doing, like especially the Pan-Africanists. And so we've educated ourselves, and now we're uplifting Africans. we're lifting African culture, like the African print clothing, the culture, the music, the foods. Because my family, we're from the South. I know that okra and yams and all that came from Africa. That's not news to me because I educated myself and I was shocked and I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, that shows like more further connection that we're Africans. And on that note, because I'm going to wrap my video up, Dynasty Amir said something the other day on another video where he was saying that we really just want to be recognized as Africans. And he was talking about ADOS. And I agree. I want my citizenship. I want my dual citizenship. Because we built America. So they're not, white people and non-black people are not going to enjoy America with what my ancestors built by themselves. Like, honestly, I wish I could kick their asses out and send them back to their own countries. But I honestly will tell you the truth. Like, I'm probably not going to really be coming back to America. Like, once I leave to go to Africa, I'm going to be gone. But I think that because our ancestors built America, we have a right to maintain our citizenship in America. That's going to be part of our reparations package. We will always be, because we are native foundational Americans. And actually, to be honest, some of us were already in America when Columbus pretended he founded America. A lot of us were already living in America. Black people were already here. But of course, with white supremacy, they're not going to teach that in schools. They're not going to acknowledge that because they want to make us feel like we were just slaves, and they want to continue to oppress us and make us feel like we were nothing, which we know is absolutely not true, only because we've self-educated ourselves with books and YouTube and Hidden Colors by Tariq Nasheed, his series. But I just want dual citizenship from Africa, to be honest. Like, that's the main thing I want. Of course, it would be nice to have some land to get started when we move over there, even if we can just buy it at a cheaper rate than white people or other races who, weren't kidnapped from Africa. I feel like I want to have more benefits that from Africa to show, like, we're sorry for what we did to you guys. And we know you guys are hurt and you've gone through hell and back, and you're not the same as non-black people who come here. Like, when Dynasty Amir told me we have to pay, he said it on this channel, that we had to pay the same amount as white people to get on the slave ship that our ancestors were put on to, I think it was a fort, the Elmina Castle, that you pay to go through and check it out and look at it and see what our ancestors went through. Why are we paying the same amount as a white person? Like, my skin should be enough for you to know, go ahead, you can go in for free. This isn't difficult to do. And another thing I want to see black Africans doing, stop letting white folks come in your country and just rape Africa, our motherland. Their asses are getting on my goddamn nerves. Like, now is the Asians coming in, like, why? Why the fuck are they there? Like, why are Africans not uniting more? You guys are the majority on your continent. Like, you have more power than you believe you have. You need to get rid of those politicians that are just sucking you dry. They're not fighting for the people. Kick their asses out of office. Stop allowing people to come, these companies, these corporations to come in and just siphon out all the wealth. Because Africa does have the most resources on this earth. They have diamonds, they have oil, they have the beautiful lands where you can get crops, and gosh, like, get rid of these people. I don't care. Like, you may be like, well, they're coming, they're building roads, they're building infrastructure, they're building stuff. That's what we're fighting for reparations for, so we can be the ones to go over there and build that stuff. We need to separate from non-black people. No more of taking shit from these assholes. They clearly are not our friends. They never have been. Ever. Never. I don't care if you have a friend who's white. I don't care if you're married to a white person. I don't care if you have an Asian coworker who's nice to you. I don't give a shit. They don't like us as a collective, as a whole. And that's what it really comes down to. Like Dr. John Henry Clark said, black people have no friends. And that's black people as a whole. Black people as a collective. Black people all over the globe. Africans and African diaspora, peoples of African descent. And don't play stupid. Like, oh, well, technically everybody comes from Africa. You know what the fuck I mean. We all got brown skin or black skin. Because I say brown, I think Hispanic, so they created that crap. Hispanic is not even a race. But we got our black skin, so you know what I'm talking about. We are each other's family. Whether you like it or not, we're blood. The same blood that runs through my veins runs through yours. And people, if this system is built on race, then who cares if a white person came from Africa too? They're white and you're black. Two different things. And that's going to lead me to my last thing. Somebody said that it's one race, the human race. It make me vomit. Stuff like that I can't fucking stand to hear. Like, shut up. When it's a black person saying it too, I just want to throw up. There's not just one race. We clearly are very different. We don't look the same. We don't have the same diseases. We don't have the same culture. We don't have nothing, even just scientifically, our genes are different. Genetically, we are different. So obviously, we're not one race. And even if that were the case, which is not, we are now living in a system. Because the same guy that said that, he was somebody like the capitalistic system. Like, even if you don't agree with it, we're living in it, so you got to deal with it. This is on Dynasty Miller's channel, too. He had some guy on there with these locks. And he was saying, it's capitalist system, so you got to just conform to it. Well, that's how it is with race. We're living in a racist society, in a racist country, in a racist world. You have to play their game, right? You don't get to pick and choose when you want to fucking play the game and when you don't because you want to go date Becky or you're married to Becky or Brad. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I want to see each group of African descent, each individual, like each separate group, whether you're Jamaican, Bahamian, Haitian, Kenyan, Congolese, Senegalese, Nigerian, Sudanese, Moroccan, like whatever you are, or ADOS, I want you to, or Black Cuban, Black Hispanic, like I want you to be strong in your own right as your group. Fight on your soil for what is right for you. And then we can be stronger together. Because right now, to be honest, it's like the blind leading the blind. Like we're all poor. We're all struggling all over the globe. We got to start fighting separately. Like you can't just be coming over here eating off of us when we don't even have food really to like give to you. We're poor too. And y'all trying to eat off us, our little crumbs, and we're getting crumbs from the America. And y'all are eating the little crumbs, little scraps we get, you trying to take it for yourself. How does that make sense? It's selfish. And that's why a lot of, ADOS people are sick of people eating off them. Like, you got to, and honestly, too, it ain't just about African Americans. It's not just about Africans and African immigrants. You have Hispanics doing that. You have Asians doing that. You have white women jumping into the minority group. You have LGBTQ trying to align themselves with slavery and what our ancestors have gone through and what we go through in our struggle. So it ain't just about you. It's about all these damn groups on our backs, like literally fucking just their big asses on our backs, like eating and getting fat while we're way at the bottom, like hoping some crumbs drop down for us to eat off the fucking ground. We're sick of that shit. We built this whole damn country. Why are we at the bottom? And then we're at the bottom of people who just got here like 2 decades ago. We've been here for like 5 centuries. I trace back my lineage. On one side of my grandparents, my grandfather on my mom's side, I literally can trace us back to like the 1500s, I think. And we were in Virginia. We came through Virginia and North Carolina. We've been in Alabama for hundreds of years, my family. We were brought there as slaves, I'm pretty sure. And because they still doing research, but we got from Virginia because my family was white coming from England. Okay, so this is my story. They were white, completely white, no black people anywhere. And then they got into America with their slaves. They bought some slaves, and suddenly we became black. And they went from Virginia to Alabama.